few times, but my story is a little different for a completely different reason. I was raised by lesbians, so coming out to my parents was difficult for other reasons. I was raised by two wonderful women. They ended up splitting, and now I have 4 moms just to get extra fun. So I have my moms already, but growing up the options were you were a lesbian to the fullest, most butch realm of lesbianism, and that's just how my parents were, or you were straight, and I had very few of those people in my life, believe it or not, and that was like very odd to me. So those were the only 2 real options, not because my parents were opposed to any of the other options, but that was what was presented to me at a young age, and I needed to figure out either I liked women or I liked men, and those were the only options. So here I am at like 13, and I was met with this crisis of, oh no, I like both. And I really had a hard time making sense of that in my brain in junior high school, and I went to the first meeting of GSA, and I walked in, and everyone there had fun-colored hair. And I really didn't know what to do with that. I was like the honors kid coming in 7th grade with my like LL Bean backpack, and there were all these 8th graders, one of which is now my absolute best friend in the entire world. And I really felt quite out of place after growing up in the queer community my entire life. So that was very odd for me. So I finally came home to my parents one day and I said, well, girls are cool. Girls are definitely cool. I also think boys are pretty cool. I know they're kind of gross, but this is the conundrum that we've ended up with. And so they were super fine with it, obviously. There was no issue there. I came to find out in my closer to adult life that my parents had actually taken bets on me and my brother as to which one would turn out gay and which one would turn out straight. I was the latter. No one won those bets though, because my brother actually turned out to be a boy. And I turned out to not be bisexual as I originally thought, but there's a lot more genders out there that I didn't know about when I was 13, and I liked all of them. So I went on and I led the GSA in my high school, and I had that experience of coming out over and over and over again. And there were so many labels to choose from that I started to get very overwhelmed. So I decided to not pick one at all, because I came out so many times, and every time I found myself coming out, I had a different label associated with it because I kept meeting new people that were terribly attractive. And they all had different genders, and they all used different pronouns, and that wasn't working. No label was fitting who I liked, and I realized that it truly didn't matter what my label was, and I didn't really care to tell people. So my default now is just queer. And I go around, and if people really want to know, I will say this is my partner, and they can make their judgments at that point. But at the end of the day, queer is the label that I chose that was most appropriate and comfiest. And I have a lot of friends in the queer community, and I know for different generations, queer can sound offensive or odd or uncomfortable. And I think that it's important to recognize that, and within our generation, it's definitely something that has been reclaimed and used as a term of empowerment rather than a negative weight. So I use that lovingly. I don't use that in a way that is meant to cause harm. But that is my coming out story. It is a little bit different.